Jason is our keynote for this month. He, from what I see online, on Facebook, on his Zillow account, absolute beast. Absolutely crushes it in Tennessee and Tennessee and Alabama. He operates a team. He does his own sales. I think one of the coolest things about Jason is he has a Facebook group of almost 300,000 people, which I imagine probably turns into a lot of business. A lot of people reaching out directly to you through that. We try to do a similar thing with our Facebook groups, but not nearly at your scale yet. You recently won a 30-day listing challenge. You generate, I imagine, most of your leads on your own. And also, probably my favorite thing about you is I think we're similar on the end of trying to develop our own technology and figure stuff out on our own. You started one of I think the first home search website that's only in Spanish, which, niching down in markets, I think is really, really important. But I think that's the high level of you, like the overall view of you. But tell me, like, 2-minute Cliff Note life story. What got you into real estate and what led you to creating home search websites and Facebook groups with hundreds of thousands of people?
I would love to jump into that. But first, did you put a sign with your name on the back wall over there? Does that say Jake?
That says Lake,
Oh,
actually. I should have put Jake there.
that's some good subliminal next level stuff there, so we all remember.
Yep, yeah, just so you don't forget. I'll put a J there. We'll edit it afterwards and put that for the video.
It's all photoshopped. Canva, hey,
Yeah.
with your Canva Pro account. Um, so yeah, like the real quick bullet point background is I actually spent the last 16 years in the music industry, putting on music festivals around the world, small ones. But I still do that as a hobby. Tennessee, Argentina, Belgium, and England. And in that
Wow.
time, there's like you learn how to DIY promote because I'm not a big wealthy person, but I know how to use my big mouth and talk to strangers. So, and when I moved full time into real estate, I just applied that same mentality, like DIY ethos, like do it yourself, punk rock, independent, and like use what you have to move up, use creativity, and just do what other people won't do to expand. And so I am a team lead with the Find a Home team at eXp Realty. I was with another brokerage before that for 2 years, but other than that, I've only been in real estate since 2018. And so I'm still a little baby. I can't flex on people like 20-year realtor. Like, do that
I've been
thing.
doing the 80s. Yeah, we used to search our homes in the newspaper. I deal with that all the time.
Yeah, really. So also, I founded findahome.com and buscatucasa.com. Findahome.com is an independent competitor to every other home search like Zillow, Realtor.com, any of them like that, Trulia, um, except for they're in 550 MLSs in all 50 states. We're in 34 MLSs and 17 states plus Puerto Rico. Um, Busca Tu Casa is the first Spanish home search app at all ever in the industry, which is just wild because I was on the board at NAREP, which is the Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. They do big wealth reports of like Hispanic home ownership, and you learn that there's out of the what is it? What do we have? 336 million people here or something. That 65 million are Hispanic, like myself. I'm Irish, Mexican, so it's a good right down the middle. So in that, both I created that one to help people that don't have equal access to the home buying process simply by not having it in the language they could read. Um, but it is a lead gen, of course, and so that's how it's going to thrive on the agent side. Uh, I'm not sure what question you asked because I started coffee talking, but I know we started talking about the social media, and I guess I'll talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
When I started the team, actually, as I started as an agent, my first email was find a home in Tennessee, find a home in TN, which I still have. And that grew online. Now, my previous brokerage, they're huge on door knocking, very, very old school. We've done this for decades. My grandfather was a door knocker. He taught me how to knock on doors and bother people. And I was like, I mean, that's cool. I get it. I love it. If you're hyper focused on a neighborhood and that's like you want that neighborhood to know you, that's great because you can't just do it once. You have to become known. But I'm from like, I watched the internet be born. So I've seen it grow and I understand that you just have much more reach. Like even right now, posted on Facebook, there's probably hundreds of people immediately saw it. And if I let it work throughout the day, then there's thousands of people who see it. And if it's something super interesting, then millions of people can see it.
Yeah,
So
that actually kind of leads me right into my first question for you. And the reason I have this question is because I saw a video maybe 3 or 4 years ago from Gary V. I feel like probably everybody knows Gary V. And
yeah,
his whole thing, it was at a real estate conference, and the concept behind it was you have to become the digital mayor of your town. It
got
seems like you're doing that at a state level. And it's like, in Tennessee and in Alabama, I would say specifically in Tennessee, because that Facebook group is just an absolute beast. But you almost answered my first question is, does it bring you leads consistently? Like, is it blowing up your phone? Is it, keeping you busy? And would you recommend like doing a Facebook group as an organic lead generation source in somebody's state, but maybe in their local town or, like, Tamaqua News. Would you recommend that as a lead generation source? Does it bring you consistent clients?
absolutely. But there's a trick to it. So, especially now, it's becoming quite popular to create a Facebook group because a lot of people like myself and others are go on, we do these webinars, and then people go and start their own, and it gets a little saturated. But just like anything else, if you're not incredibly consistent and actually providing value, then you're creating a group for no reason. Like you might get a couple leads here and there, but they're gonna fade away. And Facebook or Meta rewards people who have high viewership and response. So how do I do that? I've been posting daily, 3 times a day at least for 4 years. And the truth is, it's so simple, but most people won't do it. It's just a lazy thing. Like, I don't want to, I have to think of something. I got to, whatever. I personally go with properties. I like to share properties because that's what we're here for, right? Other people do like all the cool things around town and restaurants and stuff. And that's cool because you get a huge viewership and you're building your brand, but it's not everyone's going to be in real estate. So do whatever works for you.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like your first, what we talked about first, led into the first question. What you just said leads into the second question, and that's niching down. A lot of people, like you said, you could post about local coffee shops or the best amusement park in Tennessee, but that's not necessarily your target audience. Well, I guess you answered it again. It seems like you really niche down, like you find your target audience and then you go at them. You don't care if it has 100 million views. You'd rather have 1,000 views on something that is directly related to your business. So that was my next question. Do you see a huge benefit in niching down, or is it really, the more people, the better?
It's a trick answer. When you reach the masses, you get a lot of viewership. Then Meta notices that and they start showing your stuff to more people. They literally turn on the fountain and start letting more people see your stuff. My Find a Home in Tennessee group, it had such high viewership that Facebook sends me beta versions of Facebook. There's not just one Facebook. I don't know if everyone knows that. There's like all these different versions. We see the same format, but they all operate a little bit different. That one group, they will purposely show more people because it has such a high viewership. In fact, it doesn't, I can't even like approve people in anymore. They just get pushed in, which is awesome. So that was a good way for me to build my brand. I had to do that part. But now that I've built, I have several niche. We actually run over 110 groups and pages. Um,
Crazy.
some are real estate, some are mine, some are other people's that they started them and we're just better at it. So we run it for them and generate leads for them for different teams, different brokerages even. And some of them are just ones I love. Like, if anyone's ever been to Tennessee and you're from another state, you know that historically Mexican food is terrible in Tennessee. So I created a group called the Tennessee Taco Support Group, and we got like 6,500 people in there or something like that. And it's literally just me or anybody else going around the state finding good Mexican food. Now, is that a real estate group? No. It's something I'm passionate about, good food and cultural relevance to like, my own people. But But does it help? Yeah, it pushes my algorithms up, pushes my SEO up, and every once in a while, I someone just like, oh, there's that guy Jason. Like I've already built trust with them, even if it's on a different subject. So when it comes to real estate, they might remember me.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's almost like your pillars of content. Like you're not just, slamming them all day long with, look at this house. This is the best house. You need this, you need that. Buy this house for me. You're providing values in other ways, but like the main group it seems like the main group you run is really focused on real estate. So it's just all bringing people to eyeballs on you and your personal brand. But you mentioned team when you were talking there, and I'm building a team now. And a lot of times when I talk to agents, this is more of like a personal question for me. When I talk to agents, a lot of them are so hung up on the cost of joining a team. Like, oh, you get,
Hmm.
20% of the commission or 30% or 50% some teams charge. In your opinion, what is the real value of joining a team? Is it the systems and the leads, or is it, like people just want community? Like, what is in your opinion, the biggest value of being an agent, whether you're brand new or experienced, but actually being part of a team?
So I've learned that if somebody joins you for money, they'll leave you for, and I learned that from actually from some team leads that I follow at EXP. Like I'm in the fast forward movement with just people like Dan Beer and Kai Wessel and like just titans of the industry. And they teach so much. They just open everything up and you can learn from them. And I learned from them. You have to create community, you have to create culture and value. And you just get certain personalities too. Like some people just care about money. Cool. That's not me. In fact, I'm a terrible business person when it comes to that because it's the bottom line for me. I don't even care about it. I care about helping people. I care about building. I feel like I care about achievements. So for the team, I've learned, at least for my team, there are people who just want community. There are people that obviously want leads, which is a new thing, by the way. Like when I started, even though it was only 7 years ago, nobody gave me leads. You had to go hunt yourself. So this weird new thing we're in. Um, we do drop in Zooms every Tuesday and Thursday where we just talk to each other about things that are going on and we learn from each other, or I'll show them something, some new tech. Everyone on my team gets their own version of our app. So being progressive and providing something that they couldn't normally have. When it comes down to it, you're either paying for something up front or on the backside, right? Like if you buy a fixer upper car, you pay less up front, but over time you're putting money into it. Or you buy a car that's already fixed up and you pay more up front. And it's kind of the same with business, right? Like I'm either like, here's all the things I'm providing, this high-tech CRM, all these integrations, all these leads, training, the whole package. I'm paying for it monthly. It literally costs me money to even have you on the team. You don't have to do that. I'm going to show you how to be a realtor, and then you just jump in and learn by doing. Or you can try to start your own business, which is totally fine, and figure it out for one, do all the wrong mistakes like we all do, and then pay for it the whole time.
Mhm.
These things are like $1,000 a month to have those things.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things that I try to get across to agents. The value typically of joining a team or joining even just a good network. Like if there's a cost associated with it, like everything has a cost, but what's the true value that you get out of it? And I imagine you coach your agents and you train them. Something that I heard really early on when I got my real estate license, it was actually at my previous brokerage, and I left the brokerage after a couple months. It just wasn't a good fit. But something they said to me has always stuck. They said you have to list to exist. Like if you're working your way up in your career, I've always focused on listings because now when I drive through communities, like people recognize me and people talk to me like, "Oh, you sold that house over there." Something I notice is that doesn't happen when you have only buyers. And a lot of newer agents, they just focus on getting anything, specifically buyers. But I've always thought about you have to list to exist. Do you agree with that? And like, what would be your thoughts there? Like moving forward, are in this current market, are you focused on listings? Being that you're a team lead, are you focusing on everything? And like, what are your thoughts on that?
That immediately goes to my mind. Like I grew up in all sorts of music realms, but a lot in like underground hip hop. And there's a term you got to like show and prove. It's in a song. You got to show up and prove yourself, right? And listings is the more kind of like there's more glory in it because your name's everywhere and your face is everywhere. So yeah, it's great for marketing, it's great for branding. It's also like mathematically all the wealthier agents focused on them because it takes less time investment. You know, you might be driving one person around for a whole day, but you can get two listings in the same day, or you can get the listing, put the sign, go on to the next one. Um, I do all of it. Like my brand is built on finding a home, findahome.com. So we do obviously bring in thousands of buyers into our CRM. Um, and we didn't really have a strength on listings for a while during like the COVID madness era, like when, interest rates dropped all crazy. There was just a ton of buyers and I had a great buyer resource. However, now that we've built ourselves up and gained some strength, um, we're heavy on listings. And I think it's just because that's what the market is providing.
Hmm.
We went into that. I invested in, I pay for Fellow. That's one of these. I don't own it. It's one of those. I subscribe to it. And it's one of those programs that helps convert your buyer CRM, like buyers in your CRM to sellers. You figure if there's like 100 people in your contact list and they're all going to buy a home, maybe 40 of them already own a home. What's their home value? How do you nurture them? And now that I have the higher technology to nurture them, like and provide value, we get more listings, which
Yeah.
is why we won that challenge.
I was going to say you won that challenge. It's not like for people who don't know, Fellow is a massive company. I believe it started by a team lead with EXP also out of Ohio, I believe.
He's not with EXP, but he's Ryan Young. I forget what brokerage he's at.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
so
still a team lead, but he started that company just like you and I have started these companies.
yeah, exactly. So this is like a massive company, and Jason and his team won like a listing challenge. So basically, I imagine it was out of everybody who does this challenge, who gets the most listings, and you guys won. But that kind of shows the market where it is right now is, like I have the same way in my business. I have a handful of listings right now, but buyers aren't necessarily knocking down the doors for me. What do you think? You look at the news, everybody's like, oh, the market's going to crash. Oh, interest rates dropped a 1/4%. Everything's going to go crazy. What is your personal thoughts on the market right now? And what are you doing to prepare for what you think the summer is going to be?
This is going to sound crazy, but I don't pay attention to it at all. I know that's ridiculous. Some people are like super. My brain's not the type where I'm like following statistics all day and stuff. Like a Wall Street ticker. Um, some people do, and that's great. My style is just to focus on the the fundamentals. If I spend all of my time just talking to people, finding ways to help them, they're going to buy a home or sell a home. Like there might be fewer of them, there might be more of them, depending on the market. But if I'm only focusing on the kicks and the punches, then I'm going to win the fight. I don't look at
Yeah,
the ring around me or anything going on. There's just so many people that need help, regardless.
yeah. And I kind of I definitely focus on it a little more than I should. And you're right. Like if you look at it all the time, you get caught in the weeds and you always feel like the sky is falling. But I've always thought the same thing. Like when people ask me, like, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? I'm like, you're either going to buy a home now or you're going to sell a home now. Like you might have an advantage if you hold on to it for 6 more months, or everybody's like, oh, if I would have just bought with a 2% interest rate, I'd be better off. I'm like, well, what's the point of looking back, predict the future? Like you're here right now, so you should make the best decision for you right now. So we're going through this a little quicker than I expected, but one of my questions for you, and I try to ask this to a lot of people, if you stripped away all of the things you have right now, so like all of your systems, all of your CRMs, but you kept your knowledge and you had to get a new client, let's say a new, a new sell, let's say you had to get two new clients before dinner tonight. You wanted a new buyer and a new seller before dinner, but you don't have you have the knowledge you have now, but you don't have all of the tools you have now. What would you do? We'll start with the seller. What would you do today to get a seller to work with you before dinner?
Your answers. Um, I think the quickest way to get someone who's already primed is an expired phone call because they've already committed to a sale and but didn't. And it might be the market or it might be the agent. It's usually the agent. Just depending on skill set and pricing. However, I built everything I have by being able to touch millions of people on the internet
Mhm.
immediately. There's thousands of Facebook groups. There's just people that are curious that are looking, and you just got to create the right content to get to them. So I would just put, honestly, I would go around different Facebook groups and post, not in the not in the standard kind of, hi, I'm a realtor. I would love to help you. Of course, you would love to, like, you would love that. But what do they love? They love value. They love being helped. So find something that they need. It might be like, uh, these new listings just popped up. This neighborhood is being built. Um, I have a buyer. I literally have like 6 buyers in my pocket right now that need to move to this area before school starts. These type of things.
Yeah, and I do the same thing a lot of the times because I work with buyers and sellers, and a lot of the times, like I have buyers that are looking around, they just can't find the right place. So I'll literally go into a local Facebook group or on my own personal Facebook page. Like my aunt actually reached out to me one time. Like I talk to her all the time, but she reached out after I made one of these posts, and it basically said, I have a buyer that's looking for a lakefront home in this community. Like I don't know, it was like Lake Harmony, Lake Hotto, or somewhere else. And a bunch of people reached out to me. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's a killer way to get new clients right now because you're saying, I have this for you. Like I literally have the buyer right now. Now, some agents probably, I would imagine, would like might fudge it a little bit and say like, oh, I have a $5 million buyer that wants a condo in downtown Nashville. Definitely, at least what I do with that is I lead with what I personally have right now, and then I go after it like that. So changing gears for buyers, would your strategy be the same way? Because like just buyers. Would you go the social media route, or what would you do?
I want to pause real quick and touch on what you just said because leading with integrity is the most important thing. You don't ever want to do the
Definitely.
thing where you got a fake buyer. I know it's a strategy some people use where they got like, I've got buyers and I don't have them. Don't do that because you become that.
Don't.
All it takes is for someone for one just to suspect it and it tarnishes you. I was watching what's his name, Sharon. I believe he's the CEO of, is it Real or LPT?
Real.
Is it?
Yep.
Um, One of them. I love following all of these CEOs, all of these coaches. Man, they just provide so much value on their Instagrams, or any of their social media. And he talks about showing up to a door and literally like, here's the pre-approval. I have someone looking. They already looked like he went to the like the neighborhood tax records and saw which ones were the 3 bedrooms and which one had this and it would show up at the door. I'm like, I have someone. Do you know of anyone in this neighborhood? Not like, would you sell? Because that sounds a little combative. Like, do you know of anyone in this neighborhood that's looking to move? I have someone. I promised my buyer I would knock on every door to find them a home in this neighborhood. It's out there, but like, do you
Yeah.
want the title of realtor or do you want to go do the work and get paid? But
Yeah.
you
And I,
said,
I I really like that too. Like every time like I see one of those posts, I'm like, I make them myself, but I always think like there's definitely people that think I'm lying. And there's also people that when they make the same thing, I'm like, yeah, that's not true. But that's perfect. I mean, if you're willing to put in the work and you're gonna walk around with a pre-approval, like I mean, what more proof do you need? And then on top of that, I really liked what you said, because I built a lot of my business on cold calling. But when you cold call somebody and you're like, hi, I'm Jacob, I'm a realtor, and I want to sell your house, from my experience, that doesn't really work well. I do it. I kind of like try to go around it. Hi, my name's Jacob. I'm a realtor. I have a client looking in the area. I see you live on South Lake Drive. Do you know any neighbors that want to sell? Because, like you said, when you come at somebody directly, they're not very interested in, they're not very open to working with you right away. But if you say, hey, I'm not trying to sell your house. I'm just curious if you have any neighbors that that have been talking about selling. And it seems like it's the same thing with the pre-approval.
yeah, you're right. It comes off as the defense mechanism might be triggered without even maybe are thinking of moving. Maybe they're sick or changing jobs or they're tired of their wife or whatever. Like they might be ready to move, but if you approach it wrong, it's not going to get you anywhere. I like finding one little like headquarters, one little thing. So maybe like one specific open house, whether it's yours or someone else's, and then use that. Don't go there, put a sign in the yard, wait for no one to show up, and then leave and bitch about open houses don't work. Don't do that. Like everything is an opportunity. Everything. So
I
you,
completely agree. I always say that everything works if you work. Like if you want to build like selling real estate through a newsletter about local news, it will work. But if you stop doing it after 2 weeks or after the first sale goes bad, if you when I started, I had no money to advertise, no money to market, and nobody told me what to do. Like I was like, I know everything. I'll figure this out on my own. So the house I'm actually in right now is one of my clients' houses, and I met this guy through cold calling, and I was determined to cold call every single person in this market I'm in right now, Lake Harmony. I picked the market because it was the most expensive market around me. And I just picked up the phone and I called everybody. Now I have a lot of really, really good relationships. But like you said, if you don't put the work in and if you just try things one time, that like what's that going to bring you? You have to do it consistently over and over and over again, and eventually something will click.
Yeah, it's like billboards. You don't drive past a billboard and be like, you know what? I do need a realtor. You see someone's face, thousands, like they got like 20 billboards. You go by, and then whenever you go think of a realtor, your mind automatically goes back to it. You have to have the consistency, whether it's phone calls, social media posts. What do you do personally to stay in touch with your CRM with those people that you spent that time collecting?
So personally, on Wednesdays, actually, Wednesdays are my reach out days. I actually, I have to admit, I don't use a CRM the way I should. I basically use Trello, which is like you just like pick a block and then you can list all of your people in it. So I just have their names there on Wednesdays. Every single Wednesday, I reach out to like I have a list of like active listings, potential listings, and then buyers, and then potential buyers. So my non pre-approved buyers. Every Wednesday, if I haven't talked to them throughout the week, I just send a message. Hey, I found these three houses. I think they're a good fit for you. Let me know if you want to talk and just go through everybody. But every Wednesday, I do Wednesdays because, at least for me, my Wednesdays are always pretty slow. In my market, people are typically looking at homes on the weekends. They're coming out of cities, coming to the Poconos. So my Wednesdays are kind of the midweek. I'm busy, but it's not like my craziest day of the week. So every Wednesday, I go through my list. I contact all the people. If there's anything important or big, I call. But yeah, I guess I do it the old fashioned way. I look through my CRM, which is Trello, and
Mhm.
I just personally reach out to all of them. Do you do like blanket emails, blanket calls? What do you do for that?
I don't like to do that. I've gone through every type of what should I do? And I go copy this person, and I go copy that person. And then after a while, I realize, man, once you start getting like tens of thousands of people or like a lot of people, they'll just stop listening if you're not providing value. They're not going to click on something if the email's wrong. If they specifically said they wanted West Tennessee, I keep saying I'm East Tennessee, all of those things. So I've kind of paused a lot of just basic drip campaigns total,
Mhm.
which you know I'm in Follow Up Boss, and then you can set up drip campaigns where it's just like preset emails or texts. But especially recently, like the communication law started changing, and I'm not, everything was supposed to change and then it didn't. I don't know, but I do know that the CRMs or anybody who's in charge of communications have much stricter laws on how much you can text or what you're texting. And then there's like a whole different separate emails, and they'll even literally just shut off your CRM if they think you're spamming people. So I don't even do that anymore either. Even though there's other integrations you could put on where it starts like blanking it out
Mhm.
instead of sending like 100,000 emails, it sends like 8,000 a day over time. Or there's technology to get past that. I did leave on my fellow nurture, so that goes out automatically to people that have um, that own a home. That they're just gonna what value do they get? They're checking to see their home value. Everyone wants to know what their stuff's worth, and then when they're ready to request a home showing or a cash offer, that's when it pops in as a higher lead. And then my home search apps, findahome.com and whiskeytocasa.com, they're built through an app company called Rooster, which integrates to my CRM.
Mhm.
So they get ones where if they're looking at homes or have ever looked at homes, they've got an AI thing in there to where if something pops up similar, it sends it to them, which is pretty standard, except for if they start shifting their search, it shifts with them. That's huge. That's all I've been doing on the macro level. On the micro level, since I'm a team lead, we are just now building out because there's like extra stuff. Um, Past client stuff. We send them the reminder media magazines. We're gonna start doing more of the client giant because they have English and Spanish stuff. Um, some people do events. I don't do that so much just because they're so hyper. This requires so much work.
Yeah, that's like there's with follow up, I think there's like a million ways to do it, but I think the important thing is actually just doing it. Like just like anything in real estate, if you say you're going to do something or you're like, oh, I don't know if I should follow up through text or phone call or through, Reminder Media's, magazines or, going and knocking on their door if they're not answering you. Like, all that matters is you do something consistently. And like you said from the beginning, just, looping all the way back to Facebook groups, if you're consistent, it will grow. And in my opinion, everything works. So again, it's just being consistent and doing the things you say you're going to do. And I guess kind of last question here to wrap it up. We talked about a lot of stuff from Facebook to technology to cold calling and door knocking with pre-approvals in hand. In your opinion, in all of real estate, if for growing clients consistently, what do you think right now is the overall biggest opportunity that somebody could implement? Let's say if they're consistent starting today, but will be the biggest opportunity for them in the long term.
What can they implement? Say that first part again.
What if they were to take what do you think is the biggest opportunity for somebody to start today, and if they implement it and actually are consistent with it, will have the greatest return in the long run? Like some people say, building a downline, or some people say, building a sales team. What do you think the biggest opportunity is right now that you could start implementing today?
Okay. The answer is actually going to be in the question. Whatever it is, whatever brand you're going to build or persona or something you're passionate about, pick that one thing and become known as the expert about it consistently every single day, all day, talk about it. And not just that, engage others in that as well. So like I like to receive a lot. I need to provide opportunity for my team. I need to inbound a lot of referrals for my team so they just have extra work other than their own clients. So I join every single referral group on Facebook. And every time there's some sort of referral in Tennessee, even if I missed it, I still like it, comment it, because I'm training the Facebook algorithm to keep showing me those first. Sorry, that went into the next part of it. Um, but whatever muscle you want to build, it's only going to grow big if you do it consistently, all day, obsessively. So you want to become known as, like Gary Vee said, the mayor of it. I am the person who is known as Find a Home in Tennessee. No matter where you're in the country, there's 300,000 people in that one Facebook group. That means a good portion of people that actually move here at least see my brand. And I do that by posting 3 times a day. I tried a few other things like, hey, we're doing live from the shop, a musician or something. Nobody cared. Give them what they want. Build it every single day, all day. So I don't care if you love hockey and you're a realtor and you talk about hockey and real estate every single day, then everyone in hockey around you is going to see you and you're going to be the realtor for them. So whatever you love, you're passionate about, you have to love it, or else you're not going to want to do it 3 times a day. Talk about that and that only. Don't get distracted with other items.
Perfect. I couldn't agree more. So that goes through all the questions that I had for you. And at the end of these calls, I kind of like to open it up to anybody that had a question for us, whether it's from the beginning of the call or now. And this I say in these calls, it's going to take about 15 seconds before somebody unmutes themselves because everybody's going to feel pressure to ask a question, but they're not going to want to. So let's prepare for about 15 seconds of silence before somebody has the first question. But anybody in the call, do you have any questions for Jason or I or both of us?
First of all, where's everyone from? At least like from all across the US, Pennsylvania.
Uh-oh, here's our silence.
My sister used to live up there in Jim Thorpe.
I'm 5 minutes from there right now.
Oh, really? Wait,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you, where you, oh, no, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, she was in the town behind. I'm getting distracted.
yeah. It looks like
He says,
Michelle unmuted.
I did. I'm not really a question so much. I'm calling from, well, I'm from Ithaca, but we're on the road right now on our way to Rhode Island. But I'm absolutely shocked that you have the only Spanish speaking site in,
That's wild.
that's unbelievable. I mean, kudos to you.
Thank
I
you.
imagine you're getting a lot of people involved with that, and that's going to get some great feedback.
It's a tricky one. So, like, I would go. I love to go to masterminds or seminars or conferences. And when I'm there, you have access to like leaders that you would normally not have in person. And every time, just out of curiosity, I would say, "Oh, what do you have in Spanish? Like, what services does your website do Spanish? Do you have anything in Spanish?" And almost always it was like, "No, we're working on it," or like, "No, that's not really our thing." And personally, I think I have like a suspicion that it's not on people's mind because it doesn't affect them. Like most people,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like it's just that doesn't they don't know
okay.
people that are affected by it. And when you're in the Hispanic real estate realm, which is really honestly not a lot of my business, it's my I don't profit from it. I don't have a lot of sales in that here in Tennessee. But you just learn of the struggles. You learn that it's a completely different, it's like a different real estate world with different realtors and different lenders and different buyers. And you just don't, if you're not part of it, you don't see it. And I'm sure that's the same with every group. Like if you have like Tennessee's
Yeah.
got like the largest Kurdish population in the country, and then sorry, Nashville, and then Murfreesboro, where I live, has like the largest, I think, like Laotian, whatever. And so when you have these groups, they have their little subculture communities. And so, anyways, after a while, I just realized I'm going to create this, and then I'm going to help them, whether I benefit from it or not, to translate their stuff. And so, in the process, we've been finding companies that are like, yeah, sure, we'll translate our stuff. And one of them's um, Breakthrough Broker is the first one who jumped on, which was awesome. And I'm with EXP, you may not be, but if you are, then you know that last year we had EXP marketing and we could do postcard mailers. They've since like moved to a different platform to Canva, which is so rad. We all get Canva Pro now, but that postcard mailing system went away. Um, Coincidentally, I was working with that same company and they translated a lot of their mailers or their flyers to Spanish. And now when someone joins the Busca Tu Casa, our own referral network, we just give that to them. They can have that service. Um, Follow Up Boss,
Wow.
they don't do that, but they allowed us to convert anything we need in Spanish. Client Giant is working on putting their gifts in Spanish. I think Reminder Media. So what you'll see is I want it to be the catalyst in the entire industry. And honestly, it's a challenge because
Yeah.
if you are here, and I'll first preface this by saying if you're Hispanic, that doesn't mean you're necessarily not from here. My family's been here for 200 years, the Mexican side. So, and my Irish side has only been here for 2 generations. Um, but that being said, if you don't have the same resources, you've never known that you could do this, then it's harder. Like we have to teach the buyers to know that they have these tools. Everyone here knows they can Google something, they can go to Zillow. There's thousands of realtors in our own area, but if you don't speak English, you probably don't know that. So we have to train the public, we have to train the industry and learn how to survive in the mid time.
Yeah, I agreed. So one question I have, just because everybody's so soup happy, I understand you're fluent in Spanish, but when you transcribe all these documents and flyers and everything else into Spanish, do you have to worry about an attorney signing off on it or anything like that? And I'm asking because, and it's not so much social media, but I was the president last year of our association, and one of the things I really wanted to do was get all our documents and our purchase and listing contracts translated into Spanish because not that we have a huge Spanish population, but with Cornell University, we do. We have a huge population all around the world, a lot of Asian as well, but nobody wants to touch our contracts and our documents and translate them for legal reasons. They're too nervous. And I don't think it makes any sense with today's AI and our abilities to do this. We have nothing to offer people that don't speak English.
That's a what state are you in?
New York,
New York. Okay.
but not the city. We're in Ithaca, so we're like probably an hour and a half south ish of Syracuse.
Okay. My own personal feeling is that a lot of times people don't want to tackle that because it's not, that's fear based, right? Like they're afraid that their excuse is it's a legal concern. It's not a legal
Okay.
concern if you are someone who speaks Spanish and can translate it. You know, the problem is
Okay.
there's so many different dialects, and a lot of
Yeah, that's true.
MLSs are converting their stuff, or not MLSs really so much. I think some are, but some states are. I know Florida has all Spanish documents available, and you can even learn in Spanish to become a realtor. I think that's the only state like that.
Oh,
I'm seeing
wow.
several states starting to make the change. Um, with us,
That's great.
we find other people. So like I work with all different sorts of lenders, but I found Guaranteed Rate has all of their loan documents in Spanish if you needed it. And I was thinking, oh wow,
Oh, okay.
that's amazing. So someone can do you. People are starting to step up. What we do on Busca Tu Casa is it's a mix of static and dynamic translation. So there's some things that we just went in there and translated. Um, and then the other part is an AI translation of the IDX feed into Spanish. So it's not perfect, but it's
Wow.
pretty good. We used to have like just a Google widget, and it was wonky. The Spanish was bad, and it just didn't make sense. It was clunky. So I think as technology advances and as people become not just more aware, when they also realize if you follow the NAREP Hispanic wealth reports, that it is one of the largest home buying demographics over the next 5 years. It's just because the population boom alone of who's becoming old enough to buy homes, and the psychology of home purchases in the Hispanic community is totally different. It's just different family members might come together. Um, a
Sure.
son or daughter might move their grandparents in. Grandparents,
Yeah, multi-generational. Sure.
big, yeah, and then not big on selling, big on purchasing. So once they buy a home, like if you talk to any like abuela, any old grandmother, they're usually like, "This home is for my family forever. Anyone can live here
Wow.
after I'm gone." That's a pretty standard. That also means that this population would become one of the largest equity holders if this pattern
Yeah.
moves. So helping people, but for people that are just business mindset, they really should jump on board and figure out how to make this happen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Connect with
that's
me
awesome.
afterwards too, because if you guys do make those changes, I want Busca Tu Casa to be known of it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's it's almost mind blowing to me that it like, you obviously you're the pioneering it, but it's crazy to think that it doesn't already exist. Like, it's 2025. Realistically, with AI, you could probably translate all of the standard documents within, let's be generous, let's say 2 hours. It's almost mind blowing to me that it hasn't all been done yet. But you just need leaders like you guys to actually take care of it and do the work that you say you're going to. So it's really impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe it's our local attorneys, but I suggested that, like, let's put it in Chat GPT and then, make sure we go over it afterwards. But everyone's just terrified. No, no, no. One word could get you sued. And so we
Yeah,
just
but
don't do
surely
it.
there's Spanish speaking attorneys somewhere.
Yeah,
Like then it's on
it's
them.
unfortunate.
Uh, I think it'll be like when there's a demand, it'll spark a change in certain areas. Like obviously Florida,
Sure.
there's a huge demand. Probably California next. If you do I like to do heat maps of different populations. If you Google a Hispanic heat map, and you'll see like the entire Southwest, and then Florida, and then like Chicago, which makes sense because the entire Southwest, all the way up to the Midwest, was Mexico and was a Spanish colony. Before that, for longer than the U.S. as it existed. We're talking like since the 1500s. So it's natural.
Yeah.
There's certain places where the demand will be higher just because for hundreds of years people spoke Spanish.
Yeah, and I guess, not to change gears too fast on that, but is there anybody else have any other questions for us? I think we're getting pretty close to our time here, but if anybody else has any questions while we're still on, feel free.
If not, hit me up on LinkedIn or any of the Busca Tu Casa or Find a Home socials, or just jump in my groups and see how we bother people all day long. There's at least one in every state. Some of them are welcome home. Some of them are find a home. Welcome home or someone else's group that I manage for them. Find a home are all us, unless there's like copycat ones, which is fine too.
So to find more about you would be on Facebook, probably primarily LinkedIn, any of your socials. But after this, we'll be sending out an email to everybody with that one PDF, and we'll also include all of Jason's social medias and handles and everything. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Jason obviously said to reach out to him if you have any questions. But thank you guys so much, especially Jason. Thank you so much for doing this, and hopefully see you guys all next month. Last Friday of the month, we'll be back on.
And full disclosure, if you look me up, look for the real estate Jason and not the punk rock festival Jason, where that guy might irritate you with punk rock life.
That's awesome. But all right, guys, thank you so much. It was awesome this month, and hopefully see you again soon.
All right, bye all.